So you're gonna know what I'm actually gonna talk about. I'm gonna tell you to use John Deere corn head grease. Okay? There you do now. So, you can even go into a New Holland dealership and everything's blue and white till you get to the island grease and then you find the yellow and green can that says John Deere corn head. What is it? It's a corn head is a part of an agricultural thing that spins at like 12.5 trillion RPM, and the John Deere corn head grease. It's grease, but it's very, very thin. Most of your greases that you're dealing with is very thick. John Deere, because it's John Deere. That's why. It's the only reason it's green is because it's John Deere. But John Deere corn head grease is very thin. So when the piston wipes by it, if there's a not really a defect in the cylinder, it stays. So it helps seal up the seal. Again, the only thing you guys really should be using for like swing air jacks is either Napa Red or Napa Gold. If you feel it, it's going to be very, 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 very watery. And that's because, again, when the wiping seal goes by, we don't want it to wipe the whole thing away. We want it to get into the cracks and the grooves and the crevices to seal it up. Okay, so we're going to reseal side shovel bead breakers, not side shovels, but we're going to be rebuilding side shovel bead breaking cylinders, and you're going to use John Deere corn head grease. When you rebuild these cylinders, or these cylinders over here, if you're going to rebuild this cylinder, you're going to rebuild that cylinder, you're just going to use John Deere corn head grease. It works really good. It's that tube there was probably $6.50.
Yeah. It's for the header on the front of the machine. Yeah.
It's actually called a corn.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until I came inside. Yeah. I actually had a John Deere dealership in Cartersville, Georgia. So when I ran out of that, I just waited till I had a call in Cartersville, and then I drove out and I went there and I picked up 2 of those, and it was like $10.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what I was supposed to use it for. I just knew what I used it for.
That smell confuses my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, where the corn stalk comes in, there's like 6 big fingers on the header.
Yeah.
And where the corn stalk comes in, it grabs it and lops the head off. So as the chains feed those corn stalks into the big giant pointy fingers, that's where the grease comes into play. It's really just chain grease, more or less, but that's what they use it for.
You use the zero like that grease system.
Oh, it's not that bad.
It does have
I know. I just. You already blow your nose on this?
No, I got the grease on my hands.
No, that's definitely a green booger.
You wouldn't know if I blew my nose. I just use like I blow my nose.
So I'll tell you
Yes.
when we take this apart and we take that apart, I'll show you the easy, tricky way to get the seals back in.
You made Tim use this. Yeah.
I'll get a glove or something. I'll come with gloves tomorrow. You watch.
I have grease. I look like Dr. Paul. I have grease all the way up to here. I
always end up trying not to get it on my forearm, but then I do, and then I go like this. I don't want to use my hands.
I'll just end up with grease all around my elbows, and then I just go wash it.
Polyurea thickener. Polyurea. Yeah. Have you waxed this?
Yeah, I had
wax residual oil.
a little flat.
Yeah, because it's not like a bearing grease.
Little air looking thing.
It's not
It's not a bushing grease. It's not a bearing grease. It's more of a it's for like a feeder chain, basically on a corn head.
The wedge piece at the top. Yeah, and it was all. And then
To the uninitiated, not like any real fucking grease you get. It's basically just the cheapest grease you can buy.
He walked away, and I was just like,
It's the thinnest grease.
okay. And then he went back to the van, grabbed the 3 plates, the little things that were broken, and
Yeah,
the
we use
new head
fucking
for it.
shit.
And he was like, and then walked away and went and talked to the service or the main guy at
Dude, shaver grease is all I use. Swear to God.
Oh, yeah, pretty much.
It's
I
the
was
best shit
trying
ever.
to help
But the funny thing is, you get on your clothes, it's
he'll
never
figure it
fucking.
out.
All right, 10 minutes, guys. Stay with me here. You're making me go. All right.
Yeah. 7,000.
Well, that's our fault. We put them in the middle, but
Incredible, dude.
we didn't want them to
Best
fall.
grease ever.
All right, I'm gonna say this right, because no one's listening anyway. This cap in the middle, okay? This cap in the middle is all that stands between you being able to take this bolt out and taking this off the transmission and not, okay? Because it's a blind hole. So any water, grease, dust, that blue goo from the tire corn cob, if that blue goo gets in there, you might as well just buy a whole new tire changer, because you are never getting those two pieces separated. Because that blue goo acts as an oxidizer, and then the aluminum literally welds itself to the other aluminum. If you've never used the blue goo or never seen the blue goo, it's very runny and it's very watery, and it's the opposite of tire paste. So here's the two choices. Here's two things. Either A, again, keep bath and tile RTV with you and seal it up from the inside from where you poked it with the screwdriver, or just carry these on the truck, and every time you take one out, put a new one in. All right? Because if you don't keep that blind hole clean, it's going to turn into, honestly, it's going to look like some type of toxic waste out of Chernobyl at this point, and it's going to get in, it's going to seep in between the splines, and then it's just. I don't know what this is. It was $3, $4, $5 or whatever. You're not going to care. The customer's not going to care. It's $5 on the ticket. But you need to keep this thing in one piece just to be able to separate this thing. Okay. I don't know how you guys got this separated. There's a multiple ways to get this to separate. Yeah, that's because we didn't put this on with the 3 Agadugas that are required in the torque spec manual for that bolt.
The first time it came off real easy. The second time, when we put it back on when we were taking the airlines out, then it took 3 of us to yank up it at the same time to get it to come off.
So,
yeah.
Imagine if you actually took your 18-volt fuel and hammered that thing on there. Okay. So there is a puller. Open up the black tool case there. All the way on the bottom. Is it all the way on the bottom? Almost all the way on the bottom. So there is a puller. Okay. Now the puller has so you have to take the bolt out of the way. You take the washer out of the way. This is actually going to sit on top of the transmission. Right, it's like a little bushing. Little bushing sits right there on top of the transmission, and then you're gonna tighten the bolt up, which means it's gonna pull this up. Now the problem is that unit here is only held on with the jaws. Okay, now what aren't the jaws being supplied with? Air. So how good are the jaws actually being supplied? They're not. So the one thing that nobody tells you is you should probably take a ratchet strap, ratchet around it twice, and ratchet strap the jaws to the puller. Otherwise, the puller's going to start to get some pressure behind it. The jaws are going to slide out. The puller's going to hit you in the face, and then bad things are going to happen. Okay, so the other thing is, if you have one that has some stuff in there, the best thing you can do is try to put some brake clean down there, try to clean it out, and then put as much PV blaster down that hole as you can. Come back 2 days later, because that PV blaster has to get in there and it has to work its way into stuff.
Seafoam Deep Creek.
That works very well too. Seafoam Deep Creek.
Seafoam makes a thing called Deep Creek. I've seen that stuff freaking cut rust off a freaking bolts that you would have never thought would come out.
Do you guys have Kimball Midwest out here?
I don't think so.
So they make a penetrating oil. You know how there's a little demonstration on the PV blaster can where they spray it and it eats a styrofoam cup? You ever seen that? So the rep came to our shop one time and he goes with our PV blaster and it was eating the cup and he goes, now watch my stuff. He grabs it, sprays it, goes and flatten that cup in a second. He goes, that's why mine's better. And it is, and it smells nice, which is weird. It smells like cherries. Yeah, it smells like cherries. It's real weird, but it's the best penetrating oil I've ever used. Oh, like crazy, dude. No. It's amazing. It's the best penetrating oil I've ever used.
So, Seafoam. Seafoam.
Yeah, that is really good.
Okay. You're gonna have to get this off. Okay. The other reason why I had you guys take this off is people If you only have one tire iron on the side here, you're fine. 2 tire irons is sort of like in the danger zone. If you put 3 tire irons in there, it's not big enough so that 3rd tire iron sticks up high enough that when the hoses come around, it grabs the hose. When it grabs the hose, it tries to rip the hose out. Now on this end, it's got a banjo bolt on it, so the banjo bolt is pretty tight. But on this end here, you have an aluminum something in the plastic, and it's just going to rip this aluminum fitting out of the plastic because the plastic isn't as strong as the banjo bolt. Or if you're really lucky, they're going to rip off the banjo bolt and break off the plastic at the same time. Banjo bolts, when you order a banjo bolt, you have to order the bolt, you have to order the block, and you get the 2 orange washers. You get that as a banjo bolt. You cannot order the bolt, the block, or the washers individually. So for about $15, you're going to use, because you're probably going to reuse the blocks. There's nothing wrong with the blocks. You're going to get the new bolt, the new washers, and you're going to put it on. That's the seal, right? So that's the way. It's like it's almost like brake caliper pumps, right? These banjo bolts on brake caliper. Okay, so you're going to be replacing these a lot. Did anyone bother to notice when they took this off, which side the arrow was pointing out?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this is like on a gear, right? This is a witness mark, because if you put this on backwards, when they step on the pedal to go down, it's going to open up, and when the pedal comes up, it's going to close, which is backwards of the way that they were used to it doing. And they will call you back out there because the dude's been using the tire changer for 8 years. And his muscle memory, you are not going to get him to go, well, you just use it backwards, it'll be fine. He will not use it backwards. He will refuse to use that tire changer as long as it doesn't work right. So it's important that you put this on the right way. The other thing, did anyone mark which way these 2 come in and out? The 2 outside ones don't matter because the 2 outside ones are for bead blasting, and bead blasting is bead blasting. But this one here, again, if you put these 2 in backwards, the pedal works backwards. So you're going to have, one of these has a blue and a red one, and one of these just has 2 black hoses. So the one with the red hoses are a little
Ours
easier
just
to
had 2
remember.
black hoses on
Yeah,
this.
we marked it though.
Okay, so if you put it in backwards, then again, the pedal works backwards. Now, this is where some people will tear the whole thing apart to return or switch the lines, rather than just switching the lines at the pedal, right? Because the other ends of these 2 lines just go to a pedal, and you can just switch them at the pedal, and then technically you switch them here. But if you're not good at thinking outside the box, you're going to waste a lot of your time taking everything back off. Okay?
We're gonna do the pedals down. We'll switch them out the pedal if we need to.
So,
I believe it went red, black, but we'll see.
Steve might be able to twist this.
There it goes.
I can get it. All right. When you get a new one of these, though, these are really, really hard to twist. There's 5 different O-rings in here and a lot of grease, and it's just, there's a lot of suction on it, and it's actually really hard. When you put it in the unit, then you have 2 hands to turn this, and it turns a lot easier than when you're just trying to turn it by yourself. So, again, make sure you have your witness mark. Make sure you know which side it goes on, okay? Otherwise, when you put it on backwards too, it doesn't fit down quite square. It's off about 15 degrees. So you'll know immediately that you need to turn it around 180, and then it'll go on just fine. Okay. There are no rebuildable parts in here. You just get a whole new rotating union. Okay. If you open the door right behind you, look the other door in the black case there. On that top, in the top thing, there should be a rotating union in a bag, maybe. Maybe in the upper right-hand corner, there's a rotating union in the bag. There you go. Okay. So again, for you gentlemen, we made it easy. You gentlemen are going to get a rotating union with no fittings on it. But what you're also going to get is you're going to get 4 different baggies of fittings, because now it's a universal rotating union. And rather than, used to, you had to know what rotating union you had to order the right part. And then finally they're like, well, this is just ridiculous because we used to return a lot of them. So now you're going to get more metric fittings than you're ever going to know what to do with in your lifetime. This is made in Italy, so everything's metric, okay? All right. The step-by-step instructions tell you which fittings to use and how to put them in and all that good jazz. Okay. So, is that the one?
No, that's the
That's the new one.
that's the new one. Yeah.
because it has a red mark on it too. Okay. Oh, the older ones. So the newer ones have the lovely plastic that you can push on because you have to push the hose in, push this back, pull the hose out. Older ones had brass, and you can see this brass is all chewed up because people would push it in and try to use a straight blade screwdriver to hold it in while they pulled the hose out. And not only did they ruin this, but they also ruined the hose, which is why one of these has a red airline in it instead of a black one. Because after a while, the hose is too short. No matter how many times you cut it, the hose is still too short. Okay. All right. What else do I need to talk about for the next little bit before? Okay. So you took that off with the plate. Did you notice how simple the tensioning was? Actually, it was two different tensions, right? This one here was tensioned half.
On that plate was like
It had
The
short
bolts.
bolts in the back, but it had long bolts in the front, and you moved there was two sets of nuts. There was a nut on either side of the plate, and if you needed to put the plate down more, you took the inside nuts, ran them down, and it put more tension on the belt. And then when you put the plate back up, you just tighten the bottom nuts in a different spot. Did anyone notice how much tension was on the belt before they took it off? Was it? Okay, because there's only supposed to be about 15 pounds of tension.
I would venture to guess it was tighter than that.
Okay. This one here is different because this one here, on the long slotted holes, there was a big bolt, big long bolt, right? So super easy. We have a big long bolt. The big long bolt pushes on the plate, and the further it pushes the plate back, the more tension it puts on the belt. So in order to move the thing forward, you have to take the tensioning belt and back it off almost all the way so that the slider bracket can slide forward and then you can pick it up. Did you also notice that this is keyway, right? So you didn't have to take the nuts all the way off. You just have to break them loose by a turn or two, and you slide it off, pick it up, and get it out of the way.
That cord belt tensioner.
Is it? I hadn't had the pleasure. So, what are we doing with the extra? The last thing before we break for today, if you notice these hoses here, well, this hose doesn't matter, because this is the bead blast hose. But if you have a hose, normally what you want to do is you want to cut off the first half inch. That way, when you put the hose back in, the jaws and the O-ring have a new place to grab, and then you won't have an air leak on it, right? So, and as long as you're only losing a half inch every time you cut it off, the hose is going to be long enough for several different excursions into the void. Okay. These are, believe it or not, these are 7mm hose clamps. It's not quarter-inch hose clamps because it's made in Italy. 7mm. Or you can just use a slotted or a Phillips screwdriver.
Every GM engineer in the world is going,
So I was like, yeah, we got this. That's gonna be the muscle memory anyway.
Are they 7mm?
Yeah, all of
them.
So are Ford's. Ford's new ones are all 7mm as well.
I've seen a couple of them. I don't know.
Ford just changed theirs. They're not 7mm anymore.
Oh, really?
Smaller and easier to
Yeah,
run.
736. Yeah.
Well, that way you don't over tighten the worm gear clamp, and then you don't.
Right.
size.
Hey, you go past the cord, you're like, is it gonna break? Oh, it broke.
Tamper-proof hose clamp.
Tamper-proof hose clamp. Do they still use the torque-to-yield bolts in the steering columns like they used to? I remember torque-to-yield bolts.
The steering column lock body?
Yeah.
Where the head shear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then you have to take a chisel and chisel them off.
Yes.
Good old days. Good old days. You have no idea. The other things on the hoses, we have actually two different types of hoses. We have polyurethane and we have some called Rislan, R-I-S-L-A-N. I'm going to pronounce it Rislan. The polyurethane is a little thicker and a little less flexible. The Rislan is more of a flexible hose. It has a thinner sidewall, so you can route it a little bit easier. But it tends to kink a little quicker
It's a
too.
lot stronger too.
So,
Are those, does that be all over tank, obviously?
Yeah, every 8 weeks these things get taken apart and put back together, and that's all they do is they get taken apart and put back together.
I saw they were holding 90 degrees.
So we're not cutting half inch out of these houses.
You know, I'm surprised they're kinked. They shouldn't be kinked.
They were very.
90 degrees.
There were a couple of places in Oregon too.
Well, you guys are gonna do better. I'm
We're
not
gonna
getting you a hose.
We're gonna go and get right back.
Hoses bought by the foot. When you can order metric hoses by the foot because if you go into a Home Depot, you're not gonna find metric hoses. So if you want to buy a hose, you buy it by the foot. It is non-returnable. So normally when you buy it by the foot, you know, you buy 10, 12, 15 feet of it, and then you just use it as, you know, just stays in the back of your van, coiled up, hanging on a hook. You know, if you have a 1/4 inch fitting, you can put a 6mm hose in it, and it's close enough that it'll seal up. But if you have a 6mm fitting, you'll be very old and very tired. You will never get the 1/4 inch hose to go into a 6mm fitting, because a 1/4 inch is actually 6.3 millimeters, and that 0.3 millimeters when you're dealing with a hose is a lot. So when you're doing anything on a tire changer from Italy, please make sure you have metric hoses on the van. We have there's 6mm, 6, 8, and 10. Right. So the 8 you can probably get away with 5/16 because it's close enough. But 10 is 10, and 6 is 6. Because 10 and 3/8 is the same difference, right? It's just different size. What else do we need to talk about for the last 2 minutes? Fine. I talked about the buttons already on the power out module. Tomorrow morning we'll take the actual clamps. We'll actually take the actual side shovel bead braking cylinders out. We'll take those apart. Like I said, I'll break out one from the 1800. We'll take that one apart. We're gonna start by taking these off because you guys need to take the plates off so we can talk about the plates for 5 minutes and put the plates back on because you're gonna be doing it in the field, so you know what to do it here. Okay. I don't know what else. Nothing. What time?
Can those cylinders be serviced without pulling the tail up?
Yep. Yeah, because it's just they're
Cotter pins.
They're not E-clips, they're not cotter pins, they're more of snap rings.
Snap rings.
Outside snap rings. Yeah, I gotta go. 353. Huh?
You want me to go over there?
If you don't mind, but I'll probably be over there in about 5 minutes. I'm winding things up, so I'm gonna grab my jacket.
They said 4.
I did say.
I can go over there if you want. If you're gonna go over there, then I'll just keep walking around the building.
That's fine. I just need to shut up. I've been talking long enough. We'll pick this up in the morning.